So I am totally 100% prepared for the awkward response that this video is going to get, which is probably going to be something along the lines of, "Excuse me? Huh? And is this kid mentally impaired?" And here's the answer. No, I'm not. At least not that I know of. Guys, I'm recording this on Tuesday night. I just got back from watching Transformers the last night. These are literally going to be my first thoughts, or my first initial recorded thoughts of the movie. I spent the entire car ride from Saginaw back just discussing the movie with Mason and just completely just thinking about it, dissecting it, figuring out what I did like and what I didn't like. And after giving it some serious thought, this is probably not the response you expected from the fact that I am the guy who liked the first one, absolutely hated the second one, really liked the third one, and didn't really like the fourth one that much. And so now I'm here to tell you this movie was good. I'll even go as far as to say that this is the best Transformers movie. It is my favorite Transformers movie. And it might even be Michael Bay's best movie. I haven't seen many of Michael Bay's movies, but for me, for all of the Michael Bay movies that I have seen, this is his best one. Okay. You guys are probably wondering what's wrong with me now, and I don't blame you. So, for starters, let's go through the negatives. And I'm going to keep this very, very light on plot details and spoilers because I didn't know very much about the movie going in, and I don't want you guys to know very much about it going in either because the more mystery, the better. All right, let's get to the negatives. The movie is too long. Movie is 2.5 hours long, and it doesn't need to be. There are a couple of characters and subplots that have no meaning or impact on the story whatsoever and could easily be cut out and have no effect on the actual movie itself. Only thing that would be affected is the 2.5 hour runtime, which would be shortened up to at least 2 hours 15 minutes. It's still not ideal, but it's quicker. And honestly, I think if a couple other minor characters and plots got cut, it could easily be brought down to at least 2 hours. This movie doesn't need to be as long as it is. And my biggest complaint with the movie, as much as I actually really do legitimately love this movie, it gets a little boring. By the end, by like the last 15 minutes of the movie, you're starting to feel the amount of time you've been sitting there watching it. It starts to kind of hit you. And that's not always a problem, but it when you're seeing it in the theater, I always find that to be a bit of a problem. But when you're watching it at home, it's different because when you're watching it in the theater, most likely it's your first time watching it. You don't want to have to get up to go to the bathroom because you don't want to miss anything, or if you want to go make a snack or something. That stuff, when you're watching it at home, you can pause the movie and go do that stuff. Whereas when you're in the theater, you have to sit there and wait. So a 2.5 hour runtime is one of the things I don't like about longer movies. Going to see them in the theater is just that after a while you do get a little bit tired of sitting there and you do start to kind of feel the effect of the long movie like kind of tiring you out. I will say though, beyond that, all my problems are minor. The little girl character that they've been focusing on through the marketing, she's useless. She doesn't need to be there. And it's not even like a thing about her being a girl or being a little girl. It's just that her character has such little impact on the plot at all that it felt like when they were writing this, they were like, hey, you know what kids gravitate towards in movies? Other kids. Let's add in a little kid in the movie. But we already have the movie written. We'll just throw her in there in a couple of scenes. She doesn't have to do anything. She just has to be there so that the kids have someone to connect to. That's actually what it felt like, and I'm sure that's probably not too far off from how it actually went down. Um, yeah, other than that, my biggest complaints are just like some script problems. There are a lot of really dumb, cheesy lines in this movie that are really stupid. And there's a couple of character moments that do suck. But other than that, my biggest complaint with the movie, and I don't really consider it a spoiler, but if you do, I'm gonna just say spoiler warning. So just, I guess I'm gonna wave my hands like this when I'm done talking, so just kind of mute the volume until I do this again. So let's get into it. So, spoiler alert, you have been warned. Nemesis Prime doesn't last very long. It's very disappointing. Yeah. I was hoping that since that was the big point in their marketing, that was going to be a big point in the movie. And it's really not focused on that much, and it's resolved very quickly, and it was just short enough to be pointless. So yeah, that is my biggest complaint with this movie. All right, so if you skipped out on the not even really a spoiler, and you're back, let's talk about the positives. Mark Wahlberg continues to shine as Cade Yeager, and that does. It's great, and it kind of sucks because apparently this is going to be Mark Wahlberg's last movie. Bumblebee, again, just like in all the other movies, he does steal the show a little bit. It's always great when Peter Cullen is in these movies because I am a fan of the old cartoon. And Peter Cullen was the voice. He was the original voice of Optimus Prime. So it's always just I always just feel like that's great whenever I hear Peter Cullen in these movies as Optimus Prime because I'm just like that is awesome that they brought the guy who did it originally to do it now. And I just I love that. The action is some of the best in the entire franchise. The opening battle sequence is really good, and I love how the final battle of the movie, like on the ground, it does kind of mirror the opening a little bit, and I thought that was kind of cool. I don't know if that's what they intended. I don't even know if anyone else caught on to it. It's just something that I kind of caught on to, and I thought it was kind of cool. And the whole backstory element with why the Transformers have been here all this time, and I thought that stuff was pretty cool. It was just kind of a big expositional dump. But in terms of expositional dumps, they picked the best way to do it because you have Sir Anthony Hopkins, one of the greatest actors alive today, doing the expositional dumping. And whenever, I don't know about you guys, but, and this is like a similar thing with the Thor movies, whenever Sir Anthony Hopkins is speaking and delivering exposition, I'm interested. I'm just immediately pulled and interested in whatever he's talking about. He could be reading the dictionary, and I would listen. I'd be like, "Oh, what does Sir Anthony Hopkins have to say about this?" I like Anthony Hopkins, and he was one of the best characters in the movie, as well as his Robo Butler Cogman. I thought they were the best characters in the movie. they had the most laughs, and actually a pretty heartfelt scene near the end. So, yeah. With that being said, that's really it. I thought Transformers: The Last Knight wasn't the best movie of the year, but in all honesty, it's the best Transformers movie out of all of them, and it's probably my top few favorite movies of the year so far. I haven't like actually taken the time to evaluate and make a list, but I'm really thoroughly impressed with how good this movie actually is, considering how so far this movie has been critically received and how well the other ones have been received. I was not expecting to like this movie at all, but I actually did end up loving it. And I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Transformers: The Last Knight gets an A minus. Thank you guys for watching this video. Let me know in the comments if you've seen the movie already, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye.